Hi everybody, it's Colin Stevenson here, joined by my hero John Lenhart. Hi John.
Hi.
Now, people will probably not recognise me. It is still the same person. I managed to get myself a slight haircut, make myself more respectable looking. So today we are going to talk about making friends, John. Now, I'll just speak slightly before we get the true definition from yourself. It's a lot more difficult to make friends now because people believe that talking to somebody online makes you automatically friends, and there's not enough questions being asked. They don't vibe people the same, they don't feel it the same, they don't have the same support. So you and I had this conversation a long time ago, and I taught this actually to my son, which allowed him to, he actually went to school and put this into practice, age 9. So he was actually able to make friends better than most adults, which I find fascinating, but also very apt as to the way society is just now. Can you please tell us a bit more?
Right. So I had sent you these videos called Mr. Lenhart's class.
Yeah.
We use them in 6th grade to help these kids through synaptic pruning. And a portion of that class teaches these 6th graders how to make friends. What happened is a lot of the teachers watched it, a lot of the parents watched it and realized they don't know how to make friends. And one of the things that helps you the most with your mental health is to make and build friendships. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the 4 steps that we teach these kids how to make friends. And I know a couple of weeks ago on LinkedIn, somebody had done a post about friends, and I asked everybody what their definition of friendship was, and all they did was give a bunch of effects. They're the person you can do this with, they can do this, they can do that. It's like, I'm shocked. People don't know, they don't have a definition of friends.
Yeah.
And let alone they don't know how to intentionally build it. So what I like to do is I like to talk about friendship, and I actually use this as my guide, or actually this way, this is my guide of the steps of friendship. So I say to people, so the first step of friendship is interaction.
Yeah.
And that is a superficial interaction with somebody, as simple as interaction is, you could walk up to anybody and have an interaction. If I walked by someone and I thought their cup was going to fall off the table, I could say, hey, that cup looks like it's going to fall. That's just an interaction. The simplest interaction is, hi, my name is John. What's yours? And I have adults. Jonathan and I ran a man class for years with 19, 29-year-olds. And we were shocked by these guys who didn't have any friends, who were isolated, and they didn't know the first step. The first step is to say, and we'll have everybody in the class say, repeat after me. Hi, my name is, what's yours? And then we go, great. Now what we do in the classroom is we actually have a chart, and we have every student go up to every other student and do that. Back then we'd shake their hand. Now with COVID, we don't do that. But the first step is to do that, because you'll be shocked how many kids in class have never interacted with another student, let alone actually know their name. So that's the first thing. It seems simple, but it's shocking how many people don't even know that first step.
Yeah. And just as you're saying that, I always interact with people. I am one of these characters that are classed as strange now. I walk down the street and I say hello to people. I will literally stop and ask somebody about their shoes or their jacket or their child or their dog or something like that. And, until they understand my intention, they take a second to work it out. And once they realize it's safe, they will then give you the answer, or they will interact with you back. But because it's such a rare thing to do in these days, and it's maybe due to anti-social media or whatever you want to call it that's allowed the breakdown, people don't expect it. So you can actually see people almost frightened sometimes when you try and interact with them.
Because that's tension, face to face. Every time we get face to face with a person, our body kicks out dopamine, we feel tension.
Yeah.
Online is not the same thing, and playing video games is getting away from that. So that's why it's always stressful to go face to face. And it's a good thing because you learn that way. So you just jumped to the second step, which we would say is connection. Connection is the second step. Now, connection is deep sharing in one area. So what you're doing is you're going deep. You're asking them about their dog. That's an area that you are now asking them to share in, and you're trying to share in. The important thing about connection is to find an area that they like talking about and you like talking about. So the key to friendship is, where are you connected? What's a topic you both want to talk about? Because then you both can get energy. How do you find that topic? The communication guidelines. We've already covered this. Make statements on yourself, ask questions, answer questions. If you use the communication guidelines, trying to find out topics they want to talk about, that you want to talk about, then what happens is you're really sorting through finding the topics you both want to talk about. In the classroom, we have each student find 3 topics with each other student that they both want to talk about. And notice that might not be the same topic with every student. So this student could say, this other student likes to talk about video games, and I do. This student likes to talk about movies, and I do. But these two don't like to talk about video games or movies. That's okay. But the second step is to find out what you like to talk about that they like to talk about. The people who aren't good friends are the ones who want to talk about stuff that gives them energy and doesn't give us energy.
Yeah. And just while you're talking on the subject there, complaints, if you interact and then your first subject is, can you believe how wet it is outside? Can you believe that my car's just broken down? You will get the interaction that won't be a healthy one. And you're opening up the door for more complaints, which doubles that negative energy and drags you both down. And this is where we're not finding out, we're not asking that initial question. We're not asking, or something going in that deep. You're asking them about something, or you're complaining, and then you're just going to get hit with a wall of more complaints. And it's very, very difficult to get out of once you get to that position as well.
Right, and you're immediately draining other people. Their first impression of you is negative, and so they're going to avoid you. They're just going to kind of push you away. So that's the issue with when you're first talking, you should be trying to understand them. On our racism series, we saw the way to convert racists was to do this step. This was the step to do, was to talk to them till you find something they like to talk about, that you like to talk about, and then you can keep talking about it and build a connection.
Yes.
The third step is what we call relationship. And so what this is you have a deep connection in one area. And notice that deep connection for these kids in the classroom, their classroom is a connection. And what I mean by that deep connection is they can talk about something from their classroom with each other in front of me, and I wouldn't understand it. So we have connections with other people. We can talk about topics at a deeper level that the passerby would have to go, what do you mean about that? Past that is this relationship, which means you have a deep connection in one area and you can be superficial in every area. So what this implies is that you can ask, you have permission to ask a person about a question in this other area. So if you think about work, when you both connected with somebody at work, you're both at connection. Relationship is you can say to that person, what are you doing this weekend? If someone looks at you and goes, I don't really want to answer that. What's happening is every one of these tensions is being at different level. You consider that person at connection. They want to go to relationship. The difference in that is the strain. And you have to kind of remind them, look, we are not here. You can't ask me questions about my personal life or about just anything. Now notice, who are the people at relationship with you? Or I should say this, who are the people who think they're at relationship with you? Your relatives and your classmates.
Yeah.
So everybody you went to school with thinks they know everything about you. That's what a relationship is. I know all about you. I've seen you in all these different situations. So all of your relatives think they're in a relationship with you. And the stress is when they try to act like, oh, I know you, you're this, and you go, I'm not that. Maybe we should go back to here and we'll talk about this, but we don't talk about these other things. And that's what happens at these holiday gatherings. A bunch of people get together who think they're in a relationship, and some people are going, no, you don't know me. You think you know me, but you don't know me.
Yeah, and I find that as well, when we're talking about online, when you have these high school reunions, just as you spoke about people at school and stuff, They think because they see you online and whatever you post that they understand about your life. And I've been there myself where people say, "Oh, I can see your relationship's doing really well," or "I can see that you're struggling slightly." And you're like, you actually, A, don't have the permission to talk to me about that, but you actually don't know the information either. And a lot of it is um, assuming the information, or assuming that relationship that you're talking about, when all there is still that connection, regardless of how long it's went back.
You know, it's a great point. I had never thought about it. You're kind of updating my teaching on this, because social media does also do that to people. Social media makes you think you know the person, so it makes you think we're at relationship.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a great point that it's there. Now, if you like romantic comedies, what I'm about to teach you might wreck it for you, okay? I have two daughters, and when I taught them this next step, they both went, "Dad, you just ruined every movie for me." But here's the thing. There's really 5 levels, okay, of all of this. And every romantic comedy follows this, because the last level is marriage. So when you can explain any romantic comedy to me with these steps. Step number 1 is, how did the two people meet? How did the love interest meet? Oh, they met on a bus. They met through a coworker. They met through the chance meeting. Like, I could sit there and go, tell me any romantic comedy and just tell me how they meet. Then tell me what was their connection, because there's the point where they both go, oh, you like that poet? I like that poet. You like that movie? I like that movie. You like that story? You like chocolate chip ice cream? That's the connection. The montage is the relationship. We see them at the park. We see them out to eat. We see them holding hands. We see them kissing. You know, there's a music playing, and we see all these different areas they're sharing in. And then there's marriage. Marriage is the ultimate level of intimacy, and it's the 5th level. We're not going to talk about that, but they tend to skip over friendship in these movies. Now, some movies, if they're an R-rated, they meet, interact, connect, and go right to here, okay? They get to know each other, okay?
Yeah.
So the G-rated movies go through all these steps, okay? But what is friendship? And I love to ask people what friendship is. And what friendship is somebody who is able to speak for you. It's deep connection in all of these areas. So not only can this person initiate an interaction with you, but you want them to, because you want to be deeply known by them, and you want to deeply know them. And the measure is whether they can speak for you. So in the classroom, what I say is, I'll say to the kids, I'll say, if you weren't in the room right now and the teacher offered everybody a treat, candy or something, is there anybody in this room that you would trust to speak for you, that you would trust to say, hey, they know what I like, they can speak for me, they'll pick for me, they'll jump in. That's what a friend really is someone who can speak for you, someone who knows you well enough to do that.
That's actually shattered my dreams. Because do you know the amount of people that are going to watch this and have to re-listen to that and actually realize how many friends they don't have? And this it's a scary realization, but it's also a good realization, because it will make people work harder at relationships. Now, going back just one step there, back to this whole online thing that we just spoke about. The amount of people that I speak to online, whether it be a client or friends that have got the connection, you know, we both get dogs, so how big's your dog now? How old's your dog? You know, that kind of thing. When we meet in person, you know, that way when you walk through the supermarket and you bump and then you go, hey, how are you? I don't feel awkward because I understand, okay, and I vibe them straight away and it's just what I do. But they go, oh, what did I say? They go red, they muffle their words, they fumble, they do these things, and it's like, and then they'll go home and they'll send you a message and say, hey, I don't know why I was acting all weird yesterday or this morning, but what I've got here is now, it'll be cool next time. It's just that they get such a fright.
Right. So the thing is you highlighted this going to relationship. The issue is, without this definition of friendship, you cannot build relationships. And you said that perfectly, building relationships. So here's the issue. Once I'm at relationship, and this is what happens with your relatives. Once I'm at relationship, I don't need to get to know you anymore.
No.
I know you. That's what we say is I know you. But the issue is this, is friendship. If you're going to build it, you have to, and you said this too, understand. What does that mean? That means why you like something. So I said this, when you and I first started interacting online and we worked through connection, we worked through relationship, the way we built our friendship was, and I would say this to you, I'd say, Colin, I don't care what your favorite, like that you like dogs. I don't care that you're a dog lover. Why do you like dogs? That's what matters to me. So I just went in the classroom this past week and these kids all walked in and they were arguing over this video game, whether version 2 or version 3 was the best. And they were saying version 2 is the best. No, version 3 is the best. No, version 2 is the best. That's all they were doing. And they went online and looked up the ratings and said, see, this says version 3, this says version 2. And when they all calmed down, the teacher said, okay, class, Mr. Leonhardt's here. You know, I said, I have a question for all of you. You know, how did that feel just arguing? And this is what you see online with social media. No, this is the best. No, that's the best. And I'm sitting there going, you guys are missing it. I know you people online do not know how to build friendships. Yeah. Probably why the reason you're online instead of out with your friends. And the reason is I said to the class, I said, this student right here thinks version 2 is the best. Can anybody, and I told this student, be quiet now, don't say anything. I said, can anybody here tell me why he thinks version 2 is the best? And that's how you dissolve this issue. If you think about it, is resolve is you just yell back and forth, no version 3, no version 2. Solve would be, using communication guidelines, well, I think version 3 is the best. I understand you think version 2 is the best. That's solve. But how do you dissolve this? Watch how much you don't see this online. When someone tells me something is the best, or I should do this or this, I'll say, why do you believe that? Why is that your favorite? And a lot of times people don't answer, which shows me they don't know how to build a friendship. Yeah. But for these kids, I said, look, you could dissolve this whole argument by saying, why do you think version 2 is the best? And now you learn about them. And when you learn the why, I don't care that he thinks version 2 is the best, but I'm going to learn something about his why that'll apply in other areas. And that's what friends do. Friends never stop learning about the other person because they want to speak in other areas. And I told this class this story. I said, I got involved in a marriage counseling. Couple had been married 38 years. And I was trying to teach them this. And I said to the wife, what's your favorite color? And she said green. And I said, why? And she said, well, my name is Phyllis, and the Latin for green is Phil, like chlorophyll. Yeah. And the husband said, I never knew that. They've been married 38 years, and he never knew why green was her favorite color. And so that's the key. When we have the definition of friendship and we understand dissolve, we understand communication guidelines, we can be more mentally healthy. And you made a great point in this video about social media. You know, we do think we're at we think we're at friendship because we're at relationship, and most people prove on social media they don't know how to make friends by how they interact with each other.
Absolutely. Now, what you've just done there, John, my friend, my relationship man, is that you've actually just prompted online dating video for us and why it doesn't work. And that is where we are going to go soon enough. I know we've got a lot of videos to catch up on, but I believe that very similar guidelines, people see what they want, they make the connection, whether it's blue eyes or the way that they dress, they connect, they interact, and then they go straight to marital, you know, and they get it on, and then they realize that they've not made friends all during this. And this is why relationships are broken down in so many areas, because they go with the connection and then try and build a life on it, and it doesn't happen. So yes, on that note, is there anything you'd like to finish off on?
Well, this is the last thing I'd like to say is I agree with that. They jump over friendship. We definitely need to do a dating video, because I was dealing with somebody last week, and I've said this for 20 years to people. What's your definition of dating? Because once you make that definition, there's two paths your marriage will go on. And so many people have one definition of dating, and it totally determines their marital path. And when they get the right definition of dating, their marriage can go in a completely opposite direction. So we definitely need to do that video.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to that, because we not only will we allow people to have better relationships by understanding a 30-minute video, they will be able to go and think for themselves and feel it and actually see when it's starting going down the wrong path and be able to turn back and go down the right one. So no, amazing content today, John, and I'm looking forward to the next one, and I will speak to you very soon. Take care.
Bye.